Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the fifth video of my Get to Know Me Through Astrology series. If you've been following along since the first one, this is the fifth. We're in Taurus season, May, so I started this series in January. With the 10th house. So January, Capricorn, 10th house. February, Aquarius, 11th house. March, Pisces, 12th house, and so forth. First house was Aries, second house is Taurus. So we're in Taurus season. So that's how I'm doing my Get to Know Me Through Astrology series. I'm going to do one a month, just kind of until the year is over. Oh man. I'm just going to say right off the bat, I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys. I'm not really looking forward to doing this one in particular. I feel like it's going to be a little difficult. I'll probably be smiling the whole time. I might get choked up during certain moments of my story. I don't usually cry in front of people or in front of cameras or anything like that. But who knows? I might, because everything that I relate to my second house and it has just been this is a lot of where my deeper childhood wounds came from. Okay. And I consider, so I'll kind of explain how I view the natal chart as a timeline of your life, but technically I consider myself to be, as far as the timeline of my life, where I'm at right now in the present moment of my life, where I'm at in my life. I'm experiencing the second house. That's where I am on the timetable. If you were to unfold your life as if you're just kind of moving around the circle. I guess there's a lot of different ways that people can do that and interpret that, whether you want to follow the moon phase. There is a whole thing in Vedic astrology where you can kind of figure out where you are on your life path according to the moon. But I go according to Saturn, because Saturn represents kind of the bigger, it's still broken down into every few years, but I feel like Saturn really encompasses kind of the main segments of your life, right? I had my first Saturn return when I was around 28 years old, and my Saturn is in the 10th house, and currently Saturn is in Aquarius. Okay, so then you would look to see where you have Aquarius in your chart, and that, so I'm energetically speaking, I feel very much like in the bigger scheme of things, my life is fitting into that segment of my natal chart, which is the second house. And my second house, which is the Taurus house, which represents values, everything that I'm going through my life right now has everything to do with Taurus stuff. It's your values, your possessions, creating long-term stability for yourself. All of that is exactly pretty much what I'm dealing with right now. I'm home all the time. I work from home. I'm rediscovering my values. And of course, Uranus is in Taurus right now as well. And my second house is ruled by Aquarius. Okay, so I have Aquarius in my second house. And throughout my life, all my experiences in this kind of area, in this realm, have been very tumultuous, very traumatic. Very emotional, very just not stable. Aquarius energy will destabilize, okay? Aquarius energy will break apart in order for a more independent independent spiritual paths to emerge. You know, I mean, every sign has its positives and its negatives. Of course, the positive sign to Aquarius is kind of like, you know, discovering your own spiritual path, discovering how to connect with humanity, but it's also about division. It's also about war. It's also about like disagreements. And, you know, like when you look at the Aquarius glyph over here, these two, the water bearers, these two glyphs, they don't touch. You're on your own path, okay? So it can represent divorce. It can represent, which is part of my story that I will share, you know, war, division, like, oh my God. So this particular video is, I'm going to, you know, it's a trigger. I have trigger warnings for you, okay? So I'm just going to let you know right off the bat that it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be an easy video to watch if you're very sensitive to things like that, or listen to, or, you know, and for me, like, it's not that, I mean, I've spoken about these things before. It's not, so I don't think I am going to cry or anything like that. But it's like, just, you know, even just getting this video started, this is the first time I've ever actually like filmed a video about it. I've never really like done anything like this. Like, I've wrote about it. I'm a writer, so I've been writing forever. That's not a problem, but, you know, just kind of, as far as just kind of like, you know, opening up on camera, I guess, to an audience. I'm not like shy about it at all. I mean, I'm an open book. I'm not like afraid to share my story by any means. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. So it's hard, you know, like I've been through a lot of hard things. I've been through some shit. Okay. My family's been through some shit. I've been through some shit. And, so yeah, that's my warning for you. I will be, talking a little bit about what is going on in my life currently, because even right now, aside from just the personal stuff I'm dealing with, there's family things that are going on that are not pleasant, not happy, not like, you know, not, and it's just a matter of my family's history, you know, it's just a matter of, things that, like, the way that my family's history, mostly, well, you know, like, on my mom's side in regards to specific situations, but I feel like I'm like avoiding getting into the story. I keep just kind of explaining, trying to give you like bigger picture elements. Fuck, man. I poured myself a glass of wine just in case I got a little nervous, to share something in particular. And, you know, I deal with things through laughter. Like, I'm, you know, when I tell my dark stories and my sad stories, I usually have a smile on my face, and I might throw in a giggle every once in a while, and then I'll be like, dude, it sucked. It was like, it really sucked. But, you know, what are you gonna do? I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what else to say aside from that. So, trigger warning all across the board. All across the board. Trigger warning all across the board. Like, a little bit of everything. All right. The only thing that I don't think I'm going to touch on in this video is rape. So, yeah. That's pretty much the only thing I'm not going to touch on. But, wow. And even just saying that, like, felt kind of, like, heavy, just, like, oof, you know, like, but I know that it's important. I really feel that it is. I really feel that talking about these things is important. I feel like it's important not just for like the self. Of course, it feels good, you know, like if anybody has ever gone to therapy or whatever, you know, or just like talked openly with somebody that they trust. It feels good to get things off your chest. It feels good to talk about things, okay? And we have different ways of approaching these things. Some people just don't, you know, maybe they don't have health insurance. Maybe they don't have a doctor. Maybe they don't trust strangers, you know, they want to talk openly with somebody else. And I'm a believer in community. And I think that, you know, the more open that we are as a community and the more we can be honest with ourselves, how we feel, and share our stories with others, like the more that we can really like heal each other and heal ourselves through discussion, heal others, you know, and it really allows us to open our eyes to other people's experiences, you know, because we can go around and judge and be like, oh, no, 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 you know, but you really have no idea, you know. So I just think it's important. I think it's really important. Yeah, without further ado, my God, where do I start? Do I start with my current life, with what's going on right now? Or should I start when I was like young? Should I start with like the initial timeline? Because the second house, I even have my little Astro Soul cards laid out. I have Aquarius. Okay, so just like bullet points as far as astrology is concerned, what you're going to hear about: Aquarius, the second house, conjunction. Ceres is an asteroid that represents like nurturing. And then Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, the famous Lilith. Probably won't get into too much detail about the history of Lilith or Ceres. Ceres was an asteroid that was discovered in the early 1800s. I don't know exactly where in the solar system Ceres is, but the 4 asteroids that were discovered in the early 1800s represent female sides of ourselves, that they just represent these different female aspects, okay, within everybody, whether you're a male or female. Lilith is also a female representation, but Lilith is not an asteroid or a comet or anything. Lilith is a geographical point. It's kind of like a fictional, mythological kind of point in the sky, and it has to do with the old story of how like Eve, Lilith was the original Eve, and you know, she demanded to be treated equally to Adam, you know, and she did not want Adam to have full control over everything, and she rebelled and got kicked out of paradise, I guess. And so Lilith represents our deepest repressed desires and repressed memories and anger and rage, like the most wild and just like pure and just like you know, like just that part, that like blackest part of us that is just full of rage and revenge and resentment and lust and like all the deadly sins, right? So Lilith is very powerful. It's a very powerful energy. And Ceres is all about nurturing. Ceres is like the mother. Ceres is the one who, you know, you would nurture something to watch it grow. How you were nurtured as a kid. Who was your nurturer as a kid, right? And my Ceres is conjunct my Lilith, which just makes me think of my mom. Because she was a wild woman. She still is. But, I mean, so am I. Shit. So am I. Oh, it's just crazy. So that's just like a little background about Ceres and Lilith. I'm just going to take another sip of my wine. I am happy I'm doing this video though. Generally, I'm happy. There has been a lot going on in the moment. So I don't know. It might actually feel good to kind of get it off my chest and talk about it. But I think I'm going to end up saving the current moment for the end of the video. So, okay, let's let's get down to the story, you guys. So your natal chart, so the second house, okay, if we're going to follow the natal chart according to the moment we're born, right? So the moment you're born, that's your ascendant. That's where you're dropping out. You're dropping into the first house from the womb. Because I consider the 12th house your mother's womb. Oh my God, I thought that was a spider web. The 12th house, which is the house of Pisces, it's literally an accumulation of every single energy that exists in the world. So like as you're developing in your mother's womb, like all those different spiritual and crazy and consciousness types of energies, they're being formed in the womb. And then when you're born, boop, you're dropping into the first house, okay, which is the self. Like here you are, now you are your own human being. You are you. You have your own blueprint. You got your own natal chart. You got your own sun sign, moon sign, blah, 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 ascendant. It's set. It's done. This is you, the first house, right? You know, but you have to be taking care. Like, yeah, you're you, but you're still a baby, you know, you're still itty bitty. And there are people that have to take care of you. There are people that have to nurture you. They have to show you love and value and take care of you and offer security and stability and nurture you. So welcome to the second house. Okay, welcome to the fucking second house. And so the second house represents this kind of aspect of our life in infants, you know, like when we're first born, where and I'll get into the representation of the second house as far as adulthood is concerned. But you know, when you're little, you're dependent, and your parents or whoever your caregivers are have to take care of you. They have to nurture you so you can grow. So this is all second house stuff. So I've got Aquarius in my second house. So there's a lot of different interesting things that go into the significance of this whole second house, like being taken care of, being nurtured, because I was all over the place. When I was six months old, I think I was 6 months. I think I was 6 months old when my mom and dad flew me to Yugoslavia. Okay. If you look it up or Google it, I don't really know what you're going to find. You're definitely going to find some information, but Yugoslavia was a country in Eastern Europe. It was a big country. It was communist at the time. I was born in 1983. And my family was living in what is now modern day Croatia. They were Serbian people living in a small town in Croatia, which was Yugoslavia. And when I was born, like 6 months old, you know, my parents, I guess they wanted to work. I don't know. I don't really know what the heck they were thinking, but they basically like flew me over there, and my grandmother and grandfather and aunts and uncles and cousins, like they took care of me for almost a year. Okay. And they flew back, right? So my mom and dad came back to America to work, and I was just over there. I was there so I developed a very strong, and this is very significant, I developed a very strong connection to my family in Yugoslavia, to my Serbian family, to my grandmother the most, okay? My grandmother the most. She developed a very strong connection to me, and I developed a very strong connection to her, like emotional. As a baby, as an infant, okay? I celebrated my first birthday over there. There's like pictures of me for my first birthday with my grandpa, my grandma, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, like everybody, like, you know, the whole neighborhood was there. But my mom and my dad were not there for my first birthday. And I'm their first child, right? This is like not really one of those things. It's like I'm talking about it and I'm telling the story. So it's like, yeah, it kind of bothers me, but I don't have memory of it, right? It's just knowledge that I know. I just don't have memory of it. I don't even know if I really have emotional memory of it. I just know that I know that my parents feel a lot of regret for that, for like not being there for my first birthday or whatever. But anyway, so, okay, let's just put it this way. So I developed an attachment to that, so that they like became my family. So when my parents came back to take me and bring me back, I didn't want to go. And this is, the story that my grandmother told me. She said that I cried. Like, I didn't even know who my parents were. Like, I didn't even know who my mom was. Like, my mom was my grandma. So they bring me back, and whatever, I don't know. My mom was always, my mother has always been going through a hard time. I don't think she knew how to be a mom. I'm just going to be honest. I don't think she really knew how to mother me too. Because I guess I was a very independent child, and she needed a lot of emotional like affection and attention. And I was more like, just wanted to go do my thing and go play and whatever. Like, I didn't want to be hugged, I guess. Like, I didn't want to be cuddled or hugged or anything like that. So maybe this has to do with that Aquarius energy, because Aquarius in the second house and Aquarius energy, they're kind of like more emotionally detached. They don't want to, be coddled. They're more emotionally, they're a little bit more like reserved and to themselves. So I ended up developing a stronger connection to my dad, because my dad was a Capricorn, and I don't know, he just wasn't as like needy, I guess, as my mom. But anyway, my brother ended up being born. So this is kind of where this whole Aquarius energy really becomes interesting. But my brother was born when I was 4 or 5 years old. And his rising sign is Aquarius. So he's an Aquarius rising. And after he was born, after like the first year he was born, I think he was like 2 years old. My mom and my dad got a divorce. Okay, so they divorced, and they decided to split me and my brother up. All right, so they decided to split up me and my brother, and my dad was going to take care of me, and my mom was going to take care of my brother. And that ended up being like the biggest mistake they ever made. My mom pretty much completely lost it. She completely had a breakdown, fell apart, and she tried to kill herself. And then my dad tried to get custody of both of us, and she fought back, and she ended up getting custody of both of us, my mom. So that's actually kind of difficult to talk about, because I had developed a connection to, because the people who were taking care of me in Yugoslavia was my dad's side of the family. And I had developed a strong connection to them and to my dad. So, as I got older, and as I got older, it was just, living with my mom was a nightmare. It was a fucking nightmare. So that's why, like, I don't know, like, I'm just thinking about this whole nurture and Lilith energy, because my memories of being nurtured by my parents, it was wrapped in drama. It was just, I mean, I have some good memories from childhood, don't get me wrong. This isn't like going to be the most depressing video you're ever going to watch by any means. It's just, I don't, like we all have different love languages, right? And my mom just, she just functioned on a different kind of level. She had a lot of personal struggles. My mom's side of the family in general, okay, Serbian people were Serbian, okay, mom and dad. They've been through a lot of fucking shit. A lot. So the other reason why this Aquarius energy is significant is because, like, as I was growing up, as I was getting older, I was only 8 years old when the war started in Yugoslavia, where my family in Croatia had to run out of Croatia. They had to escape because they were Serbs. Division. This whole country split up into 5 different countries: Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia, Macedonia, Slovenia, and, you know, I don't even know, like, Kosovo is a self-declared country, but I'm not going to get into that. So that was just like it just confusing as all fuck. Like, growing up, you know, your parent, like, nobody's really explaining that much to you. You know, your parents, my mom was a mess. She was depressed. She's clinically depressed. She still is. She's on medications and stuff. I don't actually talk to my mom right now, but I think that, I don't know what I think. Maybe we're just kind of healthier going our own ways, but oh my goodness. I told you that this video was going to be a little rough for me, okay? So cheers, get a drink. Yeah, so you know, and nobody fucking cared in America. You think America gave a fuck? No. If anything, they just added to the problem. Sorry. If you're like, you know. And I just remember, like, I don't know, like, no one at school. I literally don't remember any teachers, and this war was going on for 10 years, mind you, 1990 to 1999, okay? How do you think I felt when Bill Clinton fucking you know? I remember being in school, so yeah, okay, so pretty much my whole teenage life, you know, like, growing up as a teenager, whatever, like, you know, the war was going on, and I was, like, into Nirvana and Alice in Chains and anything and everything that was depressing. You know, I did drugs in high school. I, you know, partied and got into trouble a little bit, and I didn't give a fuck about anything. I did not give a fuck about anything or anyone. No one. No one ever gave a fuck about me. I mean, no one, like, you know, I don't recall any teacher, any friend, anybody going like, oh, hey, I heard that there's war going on in your country, in your, like, where your family is. Are you okay? Like, nah. America doesn't give a fuck. America doesn't give a fuck. And oh man, this is bringing up some shit, you guys. So what the hell was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so then, you know, you have your Democrats. Bill Clinton in 1999 bombed Serbia, right? So my family had to escape from Croatia to go to Serbia, only to get bombed by the American government, you guys. The American government. Are you surprised? So yeah, I think it was for 78 days, I believe. They were bombing the capital of Serbia. You know, and I just remember being in school and, like, teachers, as early as I can remember, schools, teachers, they added to the propaganda, okay? Teachers are not innocent. Teachers unfortunately are supposed to teach their kids to think creatively and to think for themselves. But they don't do that here. They will propagate and advertise the government. The teachers, not all of them, but teachers work for the fucking government. Okay, so I just remember being in school and all my teachers were talking about how great, or like Bill Clinton and democracy and Democrats and whatever. Like I said, not all of them, but I do have a memory of that. I do have a memory of this one teacher going like, oh, if you could vote, would you vote for Bill Clinton? And I'm like, now that I think about it, I didn't realize it back then, but now that I think about it, it should have dawned on me, and I should have been like, do you even know who the fuck you're talking to? Like, do you know that I'm Serbian? Like, I don't, it's just fucking crazy. It's just crazy. Like, just nobody knew. No, nobody asked me. But anyway, that's insane. So, but you know, I'm just gonna be flat out and honest. History, Serbian history is very, very different from other white history. Okay. And this can actually be very, very much why I get frustrated with our current political climate, because it's, it's a very, it's very biased. But Serbian history, my people's history, is very, very different from other white history. And other white nations have never made things easy for us, ever. So it's kind of like not really a surprise that nobody really gave a fuck. But yeah, never, ever, 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 ever. The only country that like kind of like cared about us, I guess, was like Russia. But anyway, I'm not gonna like get too political. And so yeah, but the whole Western, the whole like Western political, Western politics never, because Yugoslavia, when it was under communism, like, because they always were very independent. We've always been very independent people. When Tito was ruling the country in Yugoslavia, this is just a brief history lesson. I'm going to stop pretty soon. But when he was president of Yugoslavia, he was it was called the non-alignment movement. His communism functioned in a very, very different kind of way. He did not like choose sides between Russia and USA. He's just like, I'm not getting involved in this. Like, they were very, very, they functioned very independently from superpowers. The history of my people have never, ever, ever bowed down to superpower, to these like big power structures trying to like bully them. It was always kind of like, who the fuck do you think you are? So, yeah, so like USA was kind of like, so when it was like one big country, USA was not too happy that like, they were like, oh no, we're not picking sides. We're not going to pick a side. So anyway, that's just like a little brief history, but, yeah, so it was just, I don't know, it was just a lot of stuff, like, and I don't even know, and I think all of that just kind of ties into this idea of the second house, and that's why I feel like it was important for me to kind of share that story, was because, like, my sense, especially with Aquarius ruling the second house, like, my sense of stability is kind of jaded. Like, things just don't feel, like, my sense of security is a little jaded. Like, even though I have a home, I don't know, like, I have this, I'm so adaptable to change. Like, I have it ingrained in me that literally, like, your home can just be taken away from you. And you just have to, like, live and you have to function in a way where anything can happen, and you just have to adapt. And you just have to, like, and even though I wasn't there when it was happening, I felt connected to it. Like, I felt like I should have been there because, like, my cousins were my best friends, like my aunts and uncles. Like, I felt somehow like this deep, deep, deep intuitive, emotional kind of connection to my family. And, like, even after I was born and I went over there, like, I went there every summer as a kid up until the war started. So, you know, and my parents were just first generation. Like, I'm the first one born in America. So, like, the connection is still strong. Like, I have a very strong connection to my family. And then, of course, you hear stories, okay? Like, all the wars that they've been. My grandmother, who passed away a couple of years ago, you know, she would tell me stories about just war after war after war after war. My dad's side of the family comes from the country. My other grandmother, who's alive and who I'm kind of like in a situation with right now, she was in a concentration camp during World War II. She has been adopted. And then she was forced to go live with her biological parents after they found her, who turned out to be really horrible parents. And so it's just crazy. Like, I just know so many stories from my family that are just like, you know, I feel like people in our modern times would just, you know, especially in America, like, you know, America has a completely different mentality. And that's why I do think it's important to share these stories, because you have to realize that most of the world does not function the way that America functions. Most of the world does not even think the way that America thinks, okay? So people have been through so much. People have been through so much. So much. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, yeah, I live in America. I was born here. I wasn't over there. But it's almost like I can feel the memories, you know. It's almost like maybe it's because of my intuitive abilities, maybe because I'm an empath, but I can, like, experience it on an emotional and a spiritual level. So yeah, lots of trauma. My grandmother has been through a lot of trauma. My mom has been through a lot of trauma, and that's why I just feel like right now, that's why it's just kind of like, it's very difficult for us to be around each other. My aunt, she died. My mother's sister, my grandmother's daughter, they found her in Florida homeless. She died of an overdose. I guess she took something that was laced with fentanyl, and that's kind of like a big thing right now, this whole fentanyl business. But yeah, so there's a lot of just really rough shit with my mom's side. And when my grandmother got into a car accident last year, I kind of went to go rescue her because she was living in Las Vegas all by herself without family. And my mom, you know, wants nothing to do with my grandmother. There's a lot of trauma between my mom and my grandmother. And so I took her in. I brought her to my apartment. I went through all this whole, like, process as far as, like, getting her doctors and medical and blah, 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 and all this type of shit. But I don't know. It's not easy for her, you know, because I want, like, full control, but she's still she thinks very independent. So that's another reason why this Aquarius energy is really prevalent, because it's like, here I am now. Okay, so now we're in today's time, okay? So that was like the time frame of where I was being kind of taken care of and nurtured, so to speak. Very, very, like, just like you know, and I've always been very rebellious as well. But always in upheaval. There was always something. Like, this Aquarius energy really just disrupted my whole idea of stability and security, you know? Like, when my mom got custody of us, like, I felt abandoned by my dad. You know, there's a lot of deep abandonment things that I deal with too. So it's hard for me to get close to people, like, on an intimate level, like romantically, you know, because I just think everybody's going to abandon me. So, you know, and then, you know, when you realize that your home literally just got torn apart, it's fucking crazy. But yeah, so now as an adult, I'm bringing, like, I don't have kids. That's going to be another video, but now bringing in my mom, right, or bringing in my grandma to live with me, here comes that nurture energy again, that Ceres energy, where it's like, now I'm the caretaker to a certain level. Now I'm kind of like stepping into this figure where I need to nurture and care for an elderly person, and holy shit, that's not easy. Like, I didn't think about it. I just kind of, on a whim, it was instinct. I just brought her here. I didn't want her to be alone where she didn't have family, because she lost her car. She didn't have a car. So I brought her here to live with me, and it's been pretty rough, you know. It's been pretty rough because she has a lot of trauma, and I have trauma. Mostly, a lot of the trauma that I deal with is connected to my mom, which is connected to my grandma. And there's a lot of drama and trauma between the two of them. So, like, I'm kind of entwined in this, like, spiral of drama and, like, mental, you know, emotional, kind of like illness type of thing. And I'm just like, ugh, like, I just, it's just too much, you know, like, there's so much, resentment and hate, and just, like, so much resentment, and I, like, can't live like that anymore. I'm just like, I can't, you know. So, you know, my grandmother, she kind of had a bit of an emotional breakdown. She's on a lot of different medications as well. I know I'm just kind of spilling out my family's history and personal stuff, but, and I don't know, like, I don't know, maybe I'll regret that. I don't know. Maybe I don't have to say everything, spill everything, and maybe I'll, you know, regret doing that one day. But I'm hoping that I'm building a community that is understanding and trust, and just kind of like good people. You know, I'm really hoping that the community that I'm building with my channel is just kind of like, are like compassionate people, you know, who understand the struggles of life, right? So, so anyway, so she had a bit of a breakdown, and, you know, she has dealt with thoughts of suicide a lot. And I think that is kind of normal when you're older, you know, when you are older, and, you know, you just kind of feel like, what's the purpose, I guess. But, so I had to, we had a bit of an incident. So, she was really not doing well. So we took her to the hospital, and, it looks like she's going to be moving into an assisted living facility. So that is currently what is going on. Yeah, but that is just the most up to date, so we don't really know exactly how that's going to pan out. But I am just going to do everything I can to help her have a peaceful rest of her life and not deal with my bullshit, because I'm not, I don't think I'm I don't think that I have the professional, emotional strength to deal with the deep, deep wounds of my family. Okay. Let's just put it that way. You know, family is like, at least not while we're living together. You know, like it's hard to better yourself as a human being. It's hard to become a better human being when you are surrounded with other human beings who don't make you better human beings. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you guys understand that? You know? Like, you just need to, like, how are you going to go on the path that you want to go down if you are around people who aren't helping that in you? It's like you're always being burdened with other people. And, you know, the interesting thing about all this whole story is that it has made my brother and I very, very, very close. My brother and I are 4 years apart, and we just understand each other. Him and I have been through everything together. We've been through the exact same shit together with our parents, and we have been pulled and sucked into, you know, my mother's drama, my grandmother's drama. We've been sucked into the drama between the two of them. We've been manipulated. We've been abused. You know, of them trying to get us against them. Like, my mom would, you know, always want us to be on her side and for us to be against my dad or against my grandmother, or just like, it just a lot of just really, you know, I don't know, just things that were just not healthy for us, basically, for our growth, I guess you can say. And it could have a lot to do with that, just that Aquarius energy of like needing to deal with our emotions on our own, in a way, because of the fact that we went through so much. Like, as children, we went through so much of this stuff with our parents. So it's like we had to find our own way and our own path. And, you know, my brother is like my biggest cheerleader, you know, like, you know, like we look after each other, like we understand the depths of how much our experiences have affected us emotionally, psychologically, you know, physically, all that type of stuff. And, you know, for so long, we always were sympathetic, and we would always like try to go back and like rekindle broken relationships with like my mom and stuff like that. And then it would just blow up in our face, and like it was just like the same cycle over and over and over again, a never ending cycle. And so it's like we, you know, now we're just kind of like, we're always encouraging each other to be better, and to, you know, to be better and stronger, and to just kind of keep on going. Because like we've been through relationships, you know, we both have the same issues in relationships, you know, like I'm just really blessed to have my brother. I feel like that's that like perfect Aquarius kind of friend. Like we have a very Aquarian kind of friendship. So I don't know, like I don't know what else to say in this video. You know, the repressed emotions, this Lilith energy is like when that energy comes out, like it's, you know, it's pissed. It's pissed. It's like, you know, so, I mean, there comes a point in everyone's life where you just have to tell yourself enough is enough. And you just, you know, like you need to decide when that is and how you're going to grow from it. How are you going to allow that moment of just like, this is enough, like I can't deal with this anymore, and like how are you going to grow from that? Like what are you going to do with that? I told you this shit was going to be heavy, you guys. Like, I don't even have all the answers, you know, because when it comes to this energy, because it's so like, you know, it's very complex and it's heavy and it encompasses so much like deep stuff, you know. And I find it interesting because conjunction, my Ceres and Lilith are conjunct, okay? Conjunction, unity, autonomy, individuation, inner self, self-motivation, concentration, personal. So when two planets are conjunct, or when two astrological points like this are conjunct, the energy like fuses, it becomes concentrated, and it like intensifies, and it like mixes and blends. So when you have the asteroid that represents like mothering and nurturing conjunct with the female energy that's like rage and just like all the like things that represent like the evil female, it's kind of like, I'm a little jaded, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a little bit of a, like the way that I show my love can be very, very harsh. It can be very, and people don't see it as love. Like people don't really see it as coming from a place of love. But it's just this like deeper kind of part of me that needs to like, it's like almost like a survival instinct thing. Either it needs to say things in order to protect myself and my loved ones, or it needs to say things to someone because I'm trying to protect them, you know, or I'm trying to like tell them the truth or something like that. So it comes out in like, you know, if I'm really angry, it'll come out in very, very, I don't know, ugly ways sometimes. I just think it's really important to understand these different sides of you, you know. I've been listening to this one artist, and the name of her album, it's a really old album from 2012, but it's called Fight Like a Girl. And it's like, here we have men like starting wars and dropping bombs and shooting guns. And then, but the way girls fight, the way women fight, we just yell. We're not killing people. We're just yelling and screaming. And they want to call us crazy? Like, no, I've had enough. Like, Like, start fighting like us. Start yelling and screaming, because that is a normal part of the human experience. Don't shoot people. Don't kill people. Don't drop bombs on people. Like, what the fuck are you doing? I swear to freaking God, like, it's time for women to take over, okay? Because we're going to show y'all how to fight and not kill people. Fight and not kill people. I swear to God, like, there is nothing wrong with anger. And I'm so tired of this mentality in America, like, oh, she's crazy. She just wants to start drama. Da, 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 da. Like, no, motherfucker. Please, who the fuck? Like, sometimes I just want to be like, who did you vote for? Like, I get so mad when people want to say that I'm crazy or I'm not normal. I literally want to be like, oh, who the fuck did you vote for? Because I'm pretty sure you voted for a fucking war criminal murderer, and you want to call me crazy for yelling? Dude, like, I can vent about this and vent about this and vent about this, okay? It's just insane. It's time. Fight Like a Girl. I just keep thinking the name of that album. Fight Like a Girl. Fight Like a Girl. We're dark. We can be evil. But we're not going to fucking kill you. We might say we're going to kill you. We might express how much we hate you or how deep our feelings are for you, but that is healthy because you're getting it out of your system. The reason why guys go out and kill is because they keep everything repressed. Everything is just sitting there in their gut, and then it manifests itself in these other ways. I mean,
you don't have to listen to me, but you really should start listening to me because it's the truth, okay? It's all psychology. Man, you guys, I feel like I did a pretty good job. I think that this video is over. I do. I think that it's over. I think I did a pretty good job. I didn't cry. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's probably the wine. Thank you, wine. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's a wrap. That's a wrap. I hope that you guys got a sense of what the second house is all about. I hope that you were able to understand something a little bit more about astrology and learned something about me and learned something about life and learned something about the world, learned something about yourself. So, yeah. I'll see you next time. The next video is going to be Get to Know Me Through Astrology, the third house. And I will see you for the mid-month tarot and oracle readings. Thanks for listening.